I stand in the middle of the crowded ballroom, the hum of conversation and clinking glasses filling the air. The annual business gala is in full swing, and Emily is by my side, her hand resting lightly on my arm. She looks stunning in her emerald green dress, drawing envious glances from every direction. I am Mark, a successful lawyer, well-respected and envied by many. We've been married for 10 years, and on the surface, everything seems perfect. But lately, I've noticed subtle changes. Emily has been distant, preoccupied. Her laugh doesn't reach her eyes anymore, and her touch feels colder. I try to push these thoughts away, reminding myself that relationships go through phases. Yet, a nagging feeling persists. The gala continues around us, people mingling and networking. I make small talk with colleagues, keeping an eye on Emily. She smiles and nods, but her mind is elsewhere. I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. I glance at Emily, who is now talking animatedly with a group of people. She catches my eye and gives me a quick smile before turning back to her conversation. I take a sip of my drink, the burn of the whiskey doing little to calm my nerves. I decide to step outside for some air. The cool night air hits my face as I step onto the balcony. I lean against the railing, looking out over the city lights. My mind is racing, replaying the last few months. Emily's late nights, the secretive phone calls, the sudden interest in her appearance. Something is off, and I can't ignore it anymore. I return to the ballroom, scanning the crowd for Emily. My heart stops when I see her. She's slow dancing with a man I don't recognize, his hands resting boldly on her hips. They are too close, their bodies swaying in unison. I feel a surge of anger and betrayal. I push through the crowd, my mind a blur. As I get closer, I see the man's hand slide down her back, resting just above her buttocks. My vision narrows, and all I can see is red. I storm up to them, my voice shaking with rage. "What the heck is going on here?" I demand, my fists clenched at my sides. Emily turns to me, her eyes wide but not with guilt or fear. It's irritation. "I promised him this dance," she says calmly. "You don't mind if I finish it with him, do you?" The man smirks at me, his hand sliding further down, just to make sure I see. Without thinking, I lunge forward and punch him, sending him sprawling to the ground. The room falls silent, all eyes on us. Emily screams my name, rushing to the man's side. "What is wrong with you?" she yells, glaring up at me. "You just embarrassed us in front of everyone." The betrayal stings, but her defense of him cuts even deeper. I look around at the shocked faces, feeling the weight of their judgment. I turn and walk away, the night air feeling suffocating. Emily follows me out, her voice accusing and harsh. As we drive home in silence, my mind races. This isn't just a one-time thing. This is something more, something deeper, and I need to find out the truth. The drive home is tense, the silence between us thick and suffocating. Emily stares out the window, her arms crossed defensively. I grip the steering wheel, my knuckles white. My mind races with questions and suspicions. How long has this been going on? Who is that guy? The betrayal burns, but I need answers. At home, Emily heads straight to the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. I follow her, determined to get to the bottom of this. "What the hell was that, Emily?" I demand, my voice barely controlled. She whirls around, her eyes flashing with anger. "You embarrassed me, Mark. In front of everyone. How could you do that?" "Embarrassed you?" I shout. "You were practically having sex on the dance floor. Who is he?" Emily takes a deep breath, trying to regain her composure. "His name is Daniel. He's just a friend. We were dancing, that's all." I laugh bitterly. "Just a friend?" Friends don't touch each other like that. Emily looks away, unable to meet my eyes. "You've been so distant lately. I needed someone to talk to, someone who listened." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. "So, you find someone else? You cheat on me?" She doesn't answer, just stares at the floor. I feel the anger boiling over. "You know what, Emily? I don't believe you. I'm going to find out the truth." I storm out of the room, slamming the door behind me. I need a plan, a way to uncover the full extent of her betrayal. I can't let this go. I need evidence, something concrete. The next morning, I call a private investigator, a guy named Tony, who comes highly recommended. We meet at a small diner, the kind of place where people mind their own business. Tony is a burly man in his 50s, with a grizzled beard and piercing eyes. He listens as I explain the situation, nodding occasionally. "So, you want me to follow her? See what she's up to?" he asks, his voice low and gravelly. "Yes," I say, sliding a photo of Emily across the table. "I need to know everything. Where she goes, who she sees. I want pictures, videos, whatever you can get." Tony nods again, pocketing the photo. "Consider it done. I'll be in touch." Days turn into weeks. I go through the motions of my daily life, but my mind is always on Emily and her betrayal. I watch her carefully, noting her movements, her phone calls. She's careful, but not careful enough. Tony calls me late one night. "I've got something you need to see," he says. "Meet me at my office." I drive to a dingy building on the outskirts of town. Tony greets me at the door, leading me to a small room cluttered with surveillance equipment. He hands me a USB drive. "Everything you need is on there," he says. I drive home, my heart pounding. In my study, I plug the USB into my computer. The first file is a video, clear and in high definition. It shows Emily and Daniel in various places: a coffee shop, a hotel lobby, a secluded park. They're always touching, always too close. My stomach churns as I watch them kiss, their bodies entwined. The final clip is the worst. It's taken from outside a hotel room. The door is slightly ajar, and I can see them inside. They're on the bed, their clothes discarded. I watch, numb, as they make love, their moans and whispers filling the room. I shut the video off, my hands shaking. The betrayal is complete. There's no denying it now. Emily is cheating on me, and I have the proof. I feel a mix of anger, sadness, and a cold, calculating resolve. She's not going to get away with this. The next morning, I confront Emily with the evidence. She's sitting at the kitchen table, drinking coffee. I toss the USB drive in front of her. "What's this?" she asks, her voice wary. "Watch it," I say, my voice cold. She plugs the drive into her laptop, her face paling as the videos play. She looks up at me, her eyes wide with fear. "Mark, I can explain." "Don't bother," I snap. "It's over, Emily. I know everything." Tears fill her eyes. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." I laugh bitterly. "You didn't think sleeping with another man would hurt me? You're unbelievable." She reaches for me, but I step back. "Don't. Just don't." We sit in silence, the weight of her betrayal hanging between us. Finally, I speak. "I want a divorce." Emily's face crumples. "No, please. We can work this out." "There's nothing to work out," I say, my voice flat. "You made your choice. Now, you have to live with the consequences." I leave her there, her sobs echoing in my ears. I call my lawyer, initiating the divorce proceedings. It's going to be a long, messy battle, but I'm ready for it. I won't let her get away with this. In the days that follow, I start planning my revenge. Emily's life is going to crumble, just like she crumbled mine. I reach out to her family and friends, sharing the videos. The scandal spreads quickly, whispers and judgment following her everywhere she goes. Emily tries to fight back, but the evidence is overwhelming. Her reputation is in shreds, her social circle turning their backs on her. The guy, Daniel, is exposed as a con man, his own life falling apart. The divorce proceedings are brutal. Emily fights for everything: the house, the kids, the money. But I'm relentless, determined to make her pay. I use every trick in the book, leveraging the evidence to turn the tide in my favor. In court, the tension is palpable. Emily sits across from me, her eyes red from crying. My lawyer presents the evidence, and the judge listens intently. Emily's lawyer tries to paint me as the villain, but the truth is undeniable. The judge rules in my favor, granting me custody of the kids. Emily loses almost everything. The settlement is fair, but it leaves her with little to rebuild her life. She looks at me, broken and defeated. As I walk out of the courtroom, I feel a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. I've won, but at what cost? The life we built together is gone, shattered by betrayal and revenge. Back at home, I focus on my kids, trying to give them a sense of normalcy. They're confused and hurt, but they're resilient. I pour myself into my work, finding solace in the routine. One night, as I'm putting the kids to bed, Emily calls. Her voice is shaky, desperate. "Mark, please, can we talk?" I hesitate, then agree to meet her. We sit in a small cafe, the atmosphere tense. "I'm sorry," she says, tears streaming down her face. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know how sorry I am." I look at her, my heart heavy. "Sorry isn't enough, Emily. You destroyed our family." She nods, wiping her tears. "I know. I don't expect anything from you. I just needed to say it." We sit in silence, the weight of our past pressing down on us. Finally, I stand up. "Take care of yourself, Emily." As I walk away, I feel a strange sense of closure. The pain is still there, but it's dulled. I've taken the first step toward healing, and I know it won't be easy, but I'm ready to move forward, to rebuild my life. The next few months are a blur of court dates and custody battles. Emily tries to regain some semblance of control, but the damage is done. Our children stay with me most of the time, their trust in her shaken. I focus on being a good father, on providing stability and love. I meet someone new, a kind and understanding woman named Sarah. We take things slow, her patience and kindness a balm to my wounded heart. The divorce is finalized and Emily moves away, starting a new life. I wish her well, but I know we can never go back to what we had. The trust is gone, replaced by a wary caution. Through it all, I find strength I never knew I had. The betrayal and revenge have changed me, but they've also made me stronger. I've come out the other side, ready to face whatever the future holds. As I look at my children, I know that we'll be okay. We've been through the worst, and we've come out stronger. The future is uncertain, but I'm hopeful. We'll face it together, one day at a time. And as for Emily, I hope she finds peace, but her actions have left a mark, a reminder of the fragility of trust. I'll never forget, but I'll move on. The past is behind us, and the future is ours to shape. With Sarah by my side and my children thriving, I feel a sense of optimism. The road ahead won't be easy, but we'll walk it together. And that's all I can ask for. I start to piece my life back together, but the sense of betrayal lingers. I can't let Emily's actions go unpunished. I hire the best divorce lawyer in town, a shark named Lisa, and I tell her everything. She nods, taking notes, her eyes cold and calculating. "We'll get her, Mark. Don't worry." Our first court date is set, and I prepare myself for a long, bitter battle. Emily's lawyer is a smug guy named Richard, who tries to paint me as an overbearing husband. Emily sits across from me, her eyes red but defiant. She doesn't look at me once. I provide Tony's surveillance videos to Lisa. She scrutinizes each one, planning our strategy. "This is solid," she says. "We'll use it to show her infidelity and unfit parenting." Emily's defense is ruthless. They dig into my past, trying to find any dirt to use against me. It's exhausting, but I'm determined to see this through. My initial attempts to solve the problem hit roadblocks. Emily lies and manipulates, making herself look like the victim. We meet for a mediation session. The room is tense, thick with unspoken accusations. Emily and I sit on opposite sides of the table, our lawyers between us. "We need to discuss custody," Richard says, his tone patronizing. Emily believes the children should be with her. Lisa doesn't miss a beat. Mark has evidence of Emily's affair. Her behavior is detrimental to the children's well-being. Emily glares at me, her eyes filled with hatred. "You're trying to destroy me," she says, her voice shaking. I meet her gaze, my heart hardening. "You destroyed us, Emily. I'm just protecting our kids." The session ends in a stalemate. The tension is unbearable, but I refuse to back down. I dive into work, trying to keep my mind off the conflict. Late nights at the office become my norm. It's a temporary escape from the chaos at home. One evening, Sarah calls me. Her voice is soft, comforting. "How are you holding up?" I sigh, running a hand through my hair. "It's tough. The kids are confused and Emily is relentless." "Let's get dinner," she suggests. "You need a break." We meet at a small, intimate restaurant. Sarah's presence is a balm to my frayed nerves. She listens as I vent, her hand covering mine. "You'll get through this, Mark. You're strong." Her support means the world to me. We finish dinner and decide to walk by the river. The night is cool, the city lights reflecting off the water. We find a quiet spot and sit down. I turn to her, my emotions raw. "Thank you, Sarah, for everything." She smiles, leaning in to kiss me. The kiss is soft at first, then deepens. I feel the tension melt away, replaced by a longing for connection. We end up back at her place, our clothes quickly discarded. The passion between us is intense, a welcome distraction from my turmoil. As we lie in bed afterward, her head resting on my chest, I feel a flicker of hope. Maybe there's a future for me beyond this mess. The next day, I'm back in court. The tension is higher than ever. Emily's lawyer calls a surprise witness, a former colleague of mine named Brad. I tense as he takes the stand. Brad and I had a falling out years ago, and I know he holds a grudge. Brad testifies that I was often late to work, implying that I neglected my family. It's a blatant lie, but it plants seeds of doubt. Lisa cross-examines him, pointing out inconsistencies in his story, but the damage is done. The judge looks at me, his expression unreadable. I leave the courtroom feeling defeated. I meet with Lisa in her office, frustration bubbling over. "We need to fight harder," I say. "Emily is playing dirty." Lisa nods, her eyes steely. "We'll hit back, hard." We dig deeper into Emily's life, uncovering more of her lies. I find out she has been embezzling money from her job. It's the break we need. Lisa prepares to use this in court, knowing it will undermine Emily's credibility. At the next hearing, we present the evidence of Emily's embezzlement. The courtroom is electric with tension. Emily looks pale, her lawyer scrambling to counter the evidence. The judge takes it seriously, and I can see the tide turning in my favor. Emily's composure cracks. During a break, she corners me in the hallway. "Why are you doing this?" she hisses, tears in her eyes. I look at her, the woman I once loved, now a stranger. "You did this, Emily. I'm just protecting our children." The court battle continues, each side throwing punches. Emily's friends testify against me, but their stories are weak. My witnesses, including Tony, paint a damning picture of Emily's deceit. The judge listens, his decision looming. One evening, after a particularly grueling day in court, I return home to find Sarah waiting for me. She's brought dinner, her presence a soothing balm. We sit in the kitchen, eating and talking. She's a light in the darkness, her support unwavering. After dinner, we sit on the couch, her head on my shoulder. "You're doing great," she whispers. "You'll win this." I hold her close, grateful for her strength. "Thank you, Sarah. I don't know what I'd do without you." Our nights together become my refuge. We make love with a desperation that speaks of our need for connection, for comfort. In those moments, I forget the trial, the betrayal. All that matters is her and the solace we find in each other. The final stretch of the trial is brutal. Emily's lawyer pulls out all the stops, trying to paint me as a vindictive ex-husband. But Lisa is relentless, countering every move with precision. The tension peaks as the judge prepares to give his verdict. I sit in the courtroom, my heart pounding. The judge reads his decision, granting me full custody of the children. Emily is to have supervised visitation. The embezzlement evidence tipped the scales in my favor. Emily breaks down, sobbing. Richard consoles her, but the damage is done. I feel a mix of relief and sadness. This isn't the victory I wanted, but it's justice. The judge's gavel falls, and it's over. I walk out of the courtroom, my head held high. Sarah is waiting for me, her eyes shining with pride. We embrace, the weight of the past months lifting off my shoulders. Back at home, I sit down with my children. I explain the situation as best I can, their young faces filled with confusion and pain. We're going to be okay, I promise them. We'll get through this together. The days that follow are a blur of adjustment. Emily moves out, the house feeling emptier but more peaceful. I focus on my kids, helping them adjust to the new normal. Sarah is a constant presence, her love and support a beacon of hope. One night, after putting the kids to bed, I sit on the porch with a glass of whiskey. The night is quiet, the stars bright above. Sarah joins me, her hand finding mine. "You did it," she says softly. I nod, the reality sinking in. We did it. We sit in silence, the weight of the past months lifting. I know the road ahead will be tough, but for the first time, I feel a glimmer of hope. The future is uncertain, but it's ours to shape. As Sarah leans into me, I realize I found something precious amidst the chaos. A chance at a new beginning, a future built on trust and love. I squeeze her hand, grateful for her presence in my life. The battle with Emily isn't completely over. There will be more court dates, more challenges, but I'm ready. I've faced the worst and come out stronger. I have my children, my career, and Sarah by my side. I take a deep breath, the cool night air filling my lungs. It's time to move forward, to build a new life. And with Sarah's hand in mine, I know I'm ready for whatever comes next. I'm sitting at my desk, sifting through paperwork, when Lisa calls. "Mark, you need to come down to the office. Emily's filed an appeal." My heart sinks. I thought the worst was behind me, but it seems Emily isn't ready to give up. "I'll be there in 20, I say, grabbing my keys. As I drive to Lisa's office, my mind races. The court battle was brutal enough. An appeal means more stress, more uncertainty. I park and head inside, my jaw set with determination. Lisa meets me at the door. "We've got this," she says, her confidence steadying me. We sit in her office, reviewing the documents. Emily's lawyer is pushing for a retrial, citing new evidence and claiming that the initial ruling was biased. It's a desperate move, but it could work. "They're playing dirty," I say, my voice tight with anger. "They're scared," Lisa replies. "We'll counter this." But it's going to be a fight. The next few weeks are a whirlwind of preparation. I spend hours with Lisa, going over every detail of the case. Emily's team is relentless, digging up new allegations, trying to paint me as the villain. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, I collapse onto the couch. Sarah sits beside me, her touch soothing. "You're strong, Mark. You'll get through this." I nod, but the weight of the battle is heavy. It's just never ending. Every time I think it's over, something else comes up. She leans in, her lips brushing mine. "I'm here. We'll face it together." Her kiss deepens, a welcome distraction from the chaos. We make love, our bodies moving together in a rhythm that drowns out the stress and fear. In those moments, I find peace. But the next morning, it's back to reality. I meet Lisa at the courthouse, the tension palpable. Emily is there, looking composed, but her eyes are hard. Richard stands beside her, his expression smug. The judge reviews the appeal. Richard presents their new evidence, financial records, emails, anything that could cast doubt on my character. It's a barrage of accusations, and I feel my resolve waver. Lisa is fierce in her defense, dismantling their claims piece by piece. The courtroom is a battlefield, each side throwing punches. The judge listens, his expression unreadable. During a break, Lisa pulls me aside. "They're desperate, Mark. We're holding our ground." I nod, trying to draw strength from her confidence. But the constant fighting is wearing me down. I miss the days when life was simple, when my biggest worry was a tough case at work. As the days drag on, the tension mounts. Emily's lies become more elaborate, her accusations more vicious. I sit in the courtroom, feeling like I'm drowning in a sea of deceit. One night, after a particularly brutal day, I meet Sarah at a quiet bar. I need to unwind, to escape. We talk, her presence a balm to my frayed nerves. She listens as I vent, her hand covering mine. "You'll get through this," she says softly. "You're stronger than you know." I squeeze her hand, grateful for her support. "Thank you, Sarah. I don't know what I'd do without you." As we walk back to her place, the night air cool and refreshing, I feel a flicker of hope. We end up in her bed, our bodies entwined, the passion between us a stark contrast to the turmoil of the courtroom. The next morning, I'm back in court, ready to face the fight. Lisa is relentless, her cross-examination tearing holes in Emily's new evidence. The judge is attentive, weighing every word. Richard's smugness falters as Lisa dismantles their case. Emily looks increasingly desperate, her composed facade cracking. I feel a surge of determination. I won't let her win. I've come too far to back down now. The trial reaches its peak, the tension in the courtroom electric. Lisa presents our final argument, laying out the evidence of Emily's deceit, her affair, and her embezzlement. The judge listens intently, his expression finally showing some reaction. Richard tries to counter, but his arguments are weak. The new evidence they presented crumbles under scrutiny. Emily looks at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of anger and desperation. As the judge prepares to give his ruling, the courtroom falls silent. My heart pounds, the moment stretching into eternity. Finally, the judge speaks. "I find in favor of the respondent, Mark. The appeal is denied." A wave of relief crashes over me. It's over. Emily's appeal is rejected. I've won. She looks devastated, her lawyer's smug expression gone. I feel a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. This isn't the victory I wanted, but it's justice. As I leave the courtroom, Lisa pats my back. "You did it, Mark. It's finally over." I nod, too overwhelmed to speak. Outside, Sarah is waiting. She rushes to me, her arms wrapping around me in a tight embrace. "I knew you'd win," she whispers. We walk to the car, the tension of the past months lifting. I feel lighter, the weight of the battle finally gone. At home, I sit my kids down, explaining the outcome in simple terms. They're relieved, their trust in me unwavering. The days that follow are a blur of adjustment. Emily moves away, starting a new life. The kids and I settle into a new routine, the house feeling more peaceful. I focus on my work, my children, and my relationship with Sarah. One evening, after putting the kids to bed, I sit on the porch with a glass of whiskey. The night is quiet, the stars bright above. Sarah joins me, her hand finding mine. "You did it," she says softly. I nod, the reality sinking in. We did it. We sit in silence, the weight of the past months lifting. I know the road ahead will be tough, but for the first time, I feel a glimmer of hope. The future is uncertain, but it's ours to shape. As Sarah leans into me, I realize I've found something precious amidst the chaos. A chance at a new beginning, a future built on trust and love. I squeeze her hand, grateful for her presence in my life. The battle with Emily isn't completely over. There will be more court dates, more challenges, but I'm ready. I face the worst and come out stronger. I have my children, my career, and Sarah by my side. I take a deep breath, the cool night air filling my lungs. It's time to move forward, to build a new life. And with Sarah's hand in mine, I know I'm ready for whatever comes next. The courtroom battle is behind me, but the war isn't over. There are still loose ends to tie up, details to finalize. Emily's supervised visitation rights need to be sorted, and the financial settlements must be executed. I meet with Lisa to plan our next steps. "We need to be thorough, Mark," Lisa says, her tone firm. "Emily will look for any loophole." I nod. I want this done right. I don't want her causing more problems. Our meetings are intense, every detail scrutinized. We draft airtight agreements, ensuring Emily can't wriggle out of her obligations. It's exhausting, but necessary. One evening, as I sit at my desk, the door opens quietly. Sarah steps in, her presence a comforting balm. "How's it going?" she asks, her voice soft. "Almost there," I say, rubbing my temples. "Just a few more things to finalize." She walks over, her hands massaging my shoulders. "You're doing great. Soon, this will all be behind you." I lean back into her touch, her fingers working out the knots of tension. I can't wait for that day. The weeks pass, and the final agreements are signed. Emily is furious, her attempts to undermine the process failing. I see her briefly during the handover of the kids. She looks tired, defeated. "This isn't over, Mark," she says, her voice a low hiss. "I'll find a way." I meet her gaze, my expression hard. "Do what you have to, Emily. I'll be ready." With the legal battles mostly resolved, I focus on rebuilding my life. The kids need stability, and I do my best to provide it. We establish routines, finding a new normal. Sarah is a constant source of support. She's amazing with the kids, her kindness and patience a gift. We spend more time together, our relationship deepening. One evening, after the kids are asleep, we sit on the porch, the night air cool and refreshing. "Mark," she begins, her voice tentative, "I've been thinking about the future." I turn to her, my heart skipping a beat. "What about it?" She looks into my eyes, her expression earnest. "I love you. I love the kids. I want to be a part of your life, officially." The words hang in the air, their meaning sinking in. I take her hand, my heart full. "I want that too, Sarah, more than anything." Our kiss is tender, filled with promise. That night, we make love slowly, savoring each moment. It feels different, more profound. The future stretches ahead of us, filled with possibility. The next morning, I wake up early. I make breakfast for the kids, my mind buzzing with thoughts of the future. I can't wait to tell them about Sarah, about our plans. As they eat, I feel a sense of contentment, a peace I haven't felt in a long time. Later, I sit down with them. "I want to talk to you about something important," I say, my tone serious. They look at me, their eyes wide with curiosity. "What is it, Dad?" my eldest asks. "Sarah and we're thinking about getting married," I say, watching their reactions closely. There's a moment of silence, then smiles break out. "Really? That's awesome," they say, their excitement contagious. We spend the day talking about the future, about what it means for our family. I feel a sense of relief, knowing they're happy about the news. It's a step toward healing, toward moving forward. In the following weeks, we plan the wedding. It's a small ceremony, just close friends and family. The day arrives, and I stand at the altar, my heart pounding. Sarah walks down the aisle, looking radiant. Our vows are simple, heartfelt. As we exchange rings, I feel a surge of love, of hope. The reception is a blur of laughter and joy. We dance, the kids joining in, their faces alight with happiness. It's a day I'll never forget, a day that marks the start of a new chapter. Back at home, we settle into our new life. Sarah moves in, and we merge our lives seamlessly. The kids adore her, and the house feels more like a home than ever before. One evening, as we sit by the fireplace, Sarah rests her head on my shoulder. "We did it," she whispers, her voice filled with contentment. I kiss her hair, my heart full. Yes, we did. The sense of peace is profound, a stark contrast to the chaos of the past year. I focus on my work, my family, and my marriage. Life isn't perfect, but it's good, better than I could have hoped for. Emily's threats linger in the background, but I refuse to let them overshadow our happiness. I'm vigilant, ready for any move she might make. But for now, things are calm. One afternoon, I receive a call from Lisa. "Emily's filed another motion," she says, her tone exasperated. I sigh, frustration bubbling up. What now? She's challenging the custody arrangement again, claims she's changed, that she deserves more time with the kids. I rub my temples, feeling the familiar stress return. What are our options? We fight it, as always, Lisa says. We have a strong case, but it's going to be another battle. I hang up, the weight of the situation settling in. I sit with Sarah, explaining the latest development. She listens, her expression serious. We'll get through this, she says, her voice steady. Just like before. Her confidence bolsters me, but the prospect of another court battle is daunting. We prepare, gathering evidence, lining up witnesses. The kids are older now, more aware of what's happening. I hate putting them through this again. The court date arrives, and we face Emily once more. She looks different, more composed. Her lawyer presents their case, arguing for increased visitation. We counter with evidence of her instability, her past behavior. The tension in the courtroom is palpable. The judge listens, weighing both sides. I feel the familiar stress, the fear of losing, but I remind myself of what's at stake: my kids' well-being, their stability. The judge takes his time, deliberating. Finally, he speaks, his voice firm. The current custody arrangement will remain in place. Ms. Emily's motion is denied. Relief floods through me. I glance at Emily, seeing the defeat in her eyes. It's over, for now. We leave the courtroom, the weight of the battle lifting. Sarah hugs me, her smile bright. You did it again, she says, pride in her voice. I nod, feeling a sense of accomplishment. We did it. Life returns to normal, the court battles fading into the background. I focus on my family, my work, my marriage. The future looks bright, filled with promise. One evening, as we sit on the porch, Sarah's hand in mine, I reflect on the journey. The betrayal, the battles, the victories. It's been a long road, but we've come out stronger. I look at Sarah, my heart full. I love you, I say, my voice filled with emotion. She smiles, her eyes shining. I love you too, Mark. We sit in silence, the stars bright above. The future is uncertain, but it's ours. Together, we'll face whatever comes next. And for the first time in a long time, I feel truly at peace. Life settles into a comfortable rhythm after the court battle. The kids are thriving, Sarah and I are happy, and work is steady. Yet, Emily's presence lingers in the background. I know her well enough to sense she won't give up easily. One evening, as I'm putting the kids to bed, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Emily. We need to talk. I hesitate, then reply, agreeing to meet her in a public place. We decide on a nearby cafe. The next day, I arrive early. I sit by the window, watching people pass by, my mind racing. When Emily walks in, she looks different, more composed, less frantic. She sits down, and for a moment, we just stare at each other. What do you want, Emily? I ask, my voice steady but wary. She takes a deep breath. I've been going to therapy. I'm trying to change, Mark. I want to be a better mother. I nod, trying to remain neutral. That's good for the kids, but what do you want from me? I want more time with them, she says, her voice trembling. Supervised visits aren't enough. I miss them. I take a sip of my coffee, considering her words. The court made its decision based on your past actions. You have to prove you're stable. She looks at me, her eyes pleading. I know I've made mistakes, but I'm different now. Please, give me a chance. I feel a mix of anger and pity. You've hurt us, Emily. It's hard to trust you. Her face crumples, tears spilling down her cheeks. I know. I'm sorry, Mark. I really am. I sigh, feeling the weight of her words. I'll think about it. But any changes will have to go through the court. We leave the cafe, the conversation hanging heavily between us. Back at home, I sit with Sarah, explaining what happened. She listens, her expression thoughtful. Do you think she's really changed? She asks. I shrug. I don't know, but for the kids' sake, I hope she has. The next few weeks are tense. Emily follows through on her therapy, attending every session. She sends me updates, trying to show she's serious. I remain cautious, but I can't deny her efforts. Eventually, I agree to a trial period of increased visitation, supervised by a court-appointed guardian. The kids are excited to see more of their mother, and I hope it won't backfire. The first visit goes well. Emily is attentive, patient. The guardian reports positively, and I feel a glimmer of hope. Maybe she really is changing. One evening, after a particularly good visit, Emily calls. Her voice is soft, almost vulnerable. "Thank you, Mark, for giving me a chance." I nod, even though she can't see me. "It's for the kids. Don't mess it up." As the trial period continues, things seem to improve. Emily is consistent, showing up on time, following the rules. The kids are happier, and I start to relax. But then, one night, I get a call from the guardian. Emily didn't show up for her visit today. No call, no message. My heart sinks. I knew it was too good to be true. I call her, but there's no answer. The kids are disappointed, confused. I try to reassure them, but inside, I'm furious. The next morning, Emily calls. Her voice is slurred, and I can hear noise in the background. "Mark, I'm sorry. I was out with friends and lost track of time." My anger boils over. "You promised you'd change, Emily. This is exactly why you lost custody in the first place." She starts to cry, but I hang up. I know I need to protect my kids. I call Lisa, explaining the situation. She advises me to document everything and prepare for another court battle if necessary. Emily tries to make up for her mistake, but the damage is done. I limit her visits again, under stricter supervision. She begs for another chance, but my trust is shattered. The court date arrives, and the tension is unbearable. Emily looks defeated, her lawyer struggling to make a case. The guardian's report is damning, highlighting her inconsistency and irresponsibility. The judge rules in my favor again, maintaining the strict visitation schedule. Emily is devastated, and I feel a mix of relief and sadness. It's not the outcome I wanted, but it's necessary for the kids' well-being. Back at home, I focus on rebuilding our lives. Sarah and I grow closer, our bond strengthened by the trials we've faced. We talk about the future, making plans and dreaming of a life free from the shadows of the past. One evening, after the kids are asleep, Sarah and I sit by the fireplace, the flickering flames casting a warm glow. "We've been through so much," she says, her voice soft. I nod, taking her hand. "But we've come out stronger." She smiles, her eyes shining. "I love you, Mark, and I love our life together." I kiss her, feeling a surge of love and gratitude. "I love you too, Sarah, more than words can say." Our life settles into a new normal. Emily remains in the background, a distant figure. The kids are happy, thriving in the stable environment we've created. My work flourishes, and I find joy in the everyday moments. One afternoon, as I play with the kids in the backyard, Sarah watches from the porch, her smile radiant. I walk over, pulling her into my arms. "We've built something beautiful here," I say, my voice filled with emotion. She nods, resting her head on my chest. "Yes, we have." The future stretches ahead of us, filled with promise and hope. We've faced the worst and come out stronger. The past is behind us, and I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next. As the sun sets, casting a golden glow over our home, I feel a sense of peace. Life isn't perfect, but it's ours. Together, we'll face whatever challenges come our way. Later that night, as we lie in bed, I hold Sarah close, feeling her warmth. "Thank you," I whisper. She looks up at me, her eyes filled with love. "For what?" "For standing by me, for believing in us," I say, my voice thick with emotion. She smiles, her touch gentle. "Always, Mark. Always." We drift off to sleep, wrapped in each other's arms. The journey has been long and hard, but it's brought us here, to this moment of peace and happiness. In the weeks that follow, I finalize the last of the legal matters. Emily remains in therapy, and while our relationship is strained, I maintain hope that she'll find her way. The kids need their mother, even if she's flawed. Life moves forward, each day bringing new joys and challenges. Sarah and I grow closer, our love deepening with each passing moment. We talk about expanding our family, dreaming of the future. One evening, as we sit on the porch watching the stars, I feel a sense of contentment. The past is behind us, and the future is bright. Together, we've built something beautiful, something strong. I love you, I say, my voice soft. Sarah leans into me, her smile radiant. I love you too. We sit in silence, the stars shining brightly above. The journey has been hard, but it's brought us here to this moment of peace and happiness. And for that, I am grateful. The future is uncertain, but it's ours to shape. Together, we'll face whatever comes next with love and strength. The past may have left its scars, but it's also given us the courage to move forward, to build a life filled with hope and joy. As I hold Sarah close, I know that whatever challenges come our way, we'll face them together. And that's all I need. Life has settled into a new rhythm. The legal battles are behind us, and Emily is a distant figure in our lives. The kids are happy, thriving in the stable home Sarah and I have created. I find joy in the simple, everyday moments. One evening, as we sit on the porch, the setting sun casting a warm glow, Sarah turns to me. "Do you ever think about the future?" she asks, her voice soft. I nod, taking her hand. All the time. I see us growing old together, watching the kids grow up, maybe even having more of our own. Her smile is radiant. I'd like that. We kiss, the connection between us deep and unwavering. It's a promise of what's to come, a future built on love and trust. At work, things are going well. My practice is flourishing, and I feel a renewed sense of purpose. The cases I take on are challenging, but they remind me why I became a lawyer in the first place. I'm fighting for justice, for people who need someone in their corner. One afternoon, I'm in my office, going over a case file, when I get a call from the kids' school. My heart skips a beat, worry flooding my mind. "Mr. Daniels, can you come in? We need to discuss something about your son." I rush to the school, my mind racing. When I arrive, the principal meets me with a concerned look. "It's nothing serious," she assures me, "but your son got into a fight." Relief washes over me, quickly replaced by concern. I sit down with my son, his face sullen. "What happened?" I ask gently. He looks at the floor. "A kid was saying bad things about Mom. I told him to stop, but he wouldn't." My heart aches for him. I kneel down, looking him in the eye. "You did the right thing standing up for your mom. But fighting isn't the answer. Let's talk about how to handle it better next time." He nods, tears brimming in his eyes. I hug him tightly, reassuring him that everything will be okay. At home, I talk with Sarah about what happened. She listens, her face thoughtful. "It's hard for them," she says, "but they're strong, just like you." Her words comfort me, and we spend the evening with the kids, playing games and laughing. The incident at school becomes a lesson, a reminder of the resilience we've all developed. Time passes, and our lives continue to evolve. The kids grow, their personalities shining brighter each day. Sarah and I grow closer, our bond unbreakable. We talk about the future, about expanding our family, about the dreams we want to pursue together. One night as we lie in bed, I look at Sarah, my heart full. "I love you," I say, my voice thick with emotion. She smiles, her hand resting on my chest. "I love you too, Mark. More than anything." The peace I feel is profound. The trials we've faced have only made us stronger. I know there will be challenges ahead, but I also know we can face them together. Our life isn't perfect, but it's filled with love and hope. The past has left its scars, but it has also given us the strength to move forward. We've built something beautiful out of the ashes, and for that, I am grateful. One sunny afternoon, we decide to have a picnic at the park. The kids run ahead, their laughter filling the air. Sarah and I walk hand in hand, enjoying the warmth of the sun on our faces. We find a spot under a large oak tree, spreading out a blanket. The kids play nearby, their joy infectious. Sarah leans against me, her head on my shoulder. "This is perfect," she whispers. I nod, feeling a deep sense of contentment. Yes, it is. As the day draws to a close, we pack up and head home. The kids fall asleep in the car, and Sarah rests her hand on mine. "I can't wait for all the adventures we'll have together," she says softly. "Me too," I reply, my heart full. At home, we tuck the kids into bed and sit on the porch, watching the stars. The future is uncertain, but it's ours to shape. Together, we'll face whatever comes our way. In the weeks that follow, life continues to bring its ups and downs. Emily remains in the background, but she's a part of our past that we've learned to live with. The kids visit her occasionally, and I hope she's finding her own path to healing. Sarah and I start planning for the future in earnest. We talk about buying a bigger house, about taking trips with the kids, about the life we want to build. Each conversation brings us closer, our dreams intertwining. One evening, as we sit by the fireplace, Sarah rests her head on my shoulder. "You know, I think we've finally found our place." I smile, kissing her forehead. "Yes, we have. The peace we've found is hard-won, but it's ours. The trials we've faced have only made us stronger." I look at Sarah, my heart full of love and gratitude. "Here's to the future," I say, raising an imaginary glass. She smiles, her eyes shining. "To the future." We sit in silence, the fire crackling softly. The journey has been long and hard, but it's brought us to this moment of peace and happiness. The future is bright, and we're ready to embrace it. As I hold Sarah close, I know that whatever challenges come our way, we'll face them together, and that's all I need.